Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Reverend Nielsen, for your word. So well, I must say, attorney Nadine Atkinson Flowers and Beverly Clark is no stranger to the Northeast diaspora. They have been with us even before the conference. So we just want to welcome them back. So they don't really need an introduction. They'll tell a little bit about that. I would also like to welcome Wayne Golden. I did see you at some point on the screen. Yeah, there you are. I want to welcome you as well, immigration attorney. And I'd also like to welcome Saruba Sanghing from Senator Coon's office as well. And just by way of introduction, I just want to give me a half a quarter second. And Saruba Sanging is actually the Chief Counsel for Immigration and Criminal Justice for Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. He served as Senator Coons' lead advisor on immigration issues for the Senator's work on the Senate Judiciary Committee. So we want to welcome him as well. So we have four individuals here who have a whole lot of knowledge to answer all the questions that you may have. Donovan Longmore will monitor the chat. So if you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat. You'll also get an opportunity by raising your hands a little later on so we can answer questions. However, we do have some free questions for I'm just going to mute you, Peter. Uh, yeah. For the ladies and the gentlemen, and we'll start from there and then we'll go on as the night progresses. But I wanted to start off with an icebreaker, and and please mute kindly if you're not speaking, so we can all hear. 'Cause as you know, this is a very important issue. 75 countries are affected by this process, and we want to know what exactly does that mean for each and every one of us. So just please mute, and then later on you'll get opportunity to ask your questions. All right, so just want to start off with an icebreaker. And last week when this came out, everybody was shocked. Didn't see it coming. Some saw it coming based on what was happening. So I want to start off just by asking Attorney Beverly Clark and then Nadine, when you saw this in the paper, what was your first reaction? What is it that you thought the community need to know right away?
Okay. So when I saw the announcement, I went, oh no, not again. Here we go. Right? Because it's almost like since this administration has taken office, I've never seen immigration law so fluid. And, you expect the changes because they're coming hard and fast at you. So my first reaction was, here we go again. What's next? And so I mentioned it to my mom, and in typical Jamaican fashion, she said, "Man can't do more than den time." Those of you who are Jamaicans know what that means. Those of you who aren't, it's basically saying, God grants us a certain amount of time, and we can only use that time, right? Because we are all expendable. I wanted the community to know immediately that it only concerned, a certain class of immigrant visa, and that they shouldn't panic if they're already in this country. It did not apply to them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Um,
Nadine, what are your immediate
yeah,
thoughts?
all of that, but yeah, I was actually in the middle of something else, and I kept getting like messages, 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 messages. But you're in the middle of something, so you're not gonna look. And I finally checked it. I realized that everybody was asking, "What is this? What's going on?" Which tells me that if people close to me are asking what's going on, people farther afield are also concerned. Because we still have no clear indicators as to what's happening. I printed the actual document that the government sent out, and that itself doesn't really tell us much. But I agree with Beverly that it's mainly going to affect persons who are overseas. I saw something very interesting today, though, because I was kind of monitoring different places that I and spaces that I exist in. And a couple of attorneys are saying that clients that have gone to interviews today have been told verbally that it might affect them for their adjustments. However, I have learned over a long life of being a lawyer that if it's not written on the paper, then I can't do anything with it. So until those lawyers probably get some notice from the government as to the status of those clients, we are of the view that it is going to affect persons who are doing what we call consular processing, going to the embassy in Jamaica, going to the embassy in the Bahamas, that kind of thing. But I guess perhaps we should start off with the questions. I think you have some prepared questions that persons had sent in before.
Yes, I
Yeah,
will
so
get
if
to
we
those.
start with those, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get into the meat of the matter. I'm gonna ask Wayne Golden Senior, what were your thoughts before I even get into the questions? And welcome. You are muted. Let me.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Wayne Golding here. Frankly, I was not surprised because we have been monitoring the administration's movement towards 30 countries previously, where they had imposed this condition where they were not going to process immigrant visas anymore from these countries due to what they claimed at the time was a lack of verification of documents. They weren't trustworthy. And we knew that there were going to be countries added to the list. What was surprising for most people in terms of countries being added to the list on the basis of they have to now revamp their system to look at these persons who are attempting to get their permanent residence to see if they would become public charge on the government coffers, which I don't know what the predictability factors that they're going to be using to do that. But I think what surprised everyone on the Jamaican side was that for Jamaicans to be put into this category, it's almost um, unheard of because the adage for Jamaicans coming to the United States is that they come here and they work 2, 3 jobs, they go to school, they don't become a burden on the government. So I don't know what figures or what statistics they use to put Jamaica on that list, but I think most people were shocked. And then what it meant was the further delay for folks in this immigrant visa category, those applying for their green cards, trying to do that through consular processing, what it's going to mean in terms of additional time of wait, new standards for them to use to, you know, to look at these applications, adjudicate these applications. And not only that, we have another category of children who might age out. So there are several factors that came to mind at that time. And as one of the attorneys said, the law is driven by rules, and we have to just wait until the rules are clear, until we can actually advise people.
All right, thank you very much. And just last but not least, Saruba Sangvi, what were your thoughts? What was coming from your office when this came out?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to introduce myself again. I'm Senator Coons's Chief Immigration Counsel, a senator from Delaware. One disclaimer I just should give before I say anything is that I'm here speaking my own views and not speaking on behalf of the senator. But I'm really privileged to be a part of this discussion. I mean, I think my biggest answer to that is much what Beverly said. I think that right from the beginning it was like, oh, here we go again. I mean, covering immigration under this administration over the last year has been just thing after thing after thing, and in some ways it's almost remarkable how they keep coming up with new ways that you could never even think of a year ago of all the ways that they want to demean and attack and make it difficult for immigrants to come here and to support the country that the nation of immigrants that we are. And so I mean, I think for me more than anything it was just sort of wow, yet again, and especially because Senator Coons has been very focused on the travel bans. The original Muslim ban, as it was first formulated, and then the various different versions of it, and so for them to come up with a new ban, but now based on public charge instead of what the original travel bans were based on with vetting, is just yet another creativity that is causing more problems and more harm to communities across this country and abroad. So that's my initial reaction. Much more to say, but appreciate the conversation.
Thank you for coming. All right, so let's start off with the first question. Can you clarify, does the pause affect all visa or just applying for green card visas? So let us get that out of the way first so we can move on from that. Nadine?
Oh, Beverly's gonna handle that.
Oh,
Yeah.
We
Beverly's
can,
going to take that?
yeah, we
Okay.
can have.
Yes. So
Okay.
guys, first off, the pause did take effect today. Okay, it came into effect on today's date, January 21st, 2026, with no end date announced. All right. So it's up in the air as to when it's gonna end. It affects only immigrant visas. And that are those are the visas that you have to consular process to get. It does not affect adjustment of status. So if you already are here and you have, you've filed your paperwork to adjust your status from visitor to green card hold to more, permanent, lawful permanent resident. It does not affect that. It doesn't affect your non-immigrant visas, your H category visas, your visitor visas. It doesn't affect humanitarian parole, your asylum or refugee processing. Those are not affected. It should be noted that this is not the first time that the government has paused immigrant visa processing, right? But it is the largest in scale and scope and involves 75 countries, which is 38% of the countries in the world. Um, who is affected? Applicants outside the US who need an immigrant visa issued by a US embassy or consulate abroad. So the embassy in Kingston, if you're, if that's where you would normally go to do your visa processing, it's going to affect you. And the freeze applies at the visa issue one stage. So I-130s, the I-140s, if it already approved, the interview is scheduled or completed. So no visa can be issued at the consulate during the freeze, right? Unless an exception applies, such as if you have dual nationality, and we'll get into that later on. The people who are not affected, people already physically in the US who are filing adjustment of status, like I said before, or have a pending case, AOS case, adjustment of status case. And the freeze does not suspend or pause those adjustment of status adjudications. So if someone is here in valid status and eligible to file adjustment of status, their case continues normally.
Okay. So so if I mean, my mother is here. So if I'm filing for my mother and she's currently in Jamaica, that's what's being affected. Am I
It's
correct?
affected. Yes.
All
They
right.
cannot process that visa.
Okay. All right. We're gonna take a quick question from Tammy Mack. You wanna come up? Go ahead.
Yes. Good night, everyone. I'm Tammy Mack, and I'm a human rights, civil rights, and educational activist and advocate. And I want to know, what can I do to collaborate with my community, what I could do as a human rights activist to help the community in Jamaica. So if you have any ideas, do I reach out to my Republican counterparts? Like, what can I do?
In terms of what? I mean, help them to do
What do
what?
you mean? Okay, so we have a hurricane right now. There's several people being displaced. That's humanitarian. If we have a child that has cancer and is dying and need to get to Nemours Hospital, I want to know, That is a humanitarian issue right there. There's several things that we could do. We have to work with the government. I'm an independent. I'm not here to fight about government. I'm just saying Jamaica is one of the countries that produce so much financially for the Caribbean. So what can we do? You know, the more you reach out, I'm all about negotiation and solution. So I'll bring that over to Chris Coon's office, to the attorney. Is there anything in DC or we could reach out to our senators or Republican counterparts?
Well, I
Yeah.
suppose it always. Oh, okay, go ahead. I suppose it always makes sense though to do that. I always say writing to your local community leaders, your state representatives, your senators, to express whatever it is that is happening always helps. But I think I heard the gentleman from the senator's
Yeah.
office about to speak.
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, I certainly agree with Nadine 100%. I mean, I think that I mean, it's a very difficult environment at the federal level right now, though. You know, I mean, I think that Senator Coons is very focused on this issue and immigration in general, but also all of these bans that the Trump administration is doing, but you know, this is an area that I'll be honest. I mean, you know, we're not getting any conversation with Republicans on right now, and right now in Washington D.C. at least, you know, they control this area and all the policies, and so you know, I think he's trying. We're trying. You know, we would like to see bipartisan action to pull back some of the things that the Trump administration is doing. And I think outreach from people to their elected leaders, both in DC and in your states, you know, because there are state governments and state legislatures, and you know, and because sometimes there are ways for state legislatures to push back as well. You know, is always very important. But you know, I think that the more that businesses understand the issues that this is causing, you know, that businesses are speaking up to say what the issues are for them, and as well as, you know, regular people, you know, I think the better that it would be for the politics in DC.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was actually a good answer. So there you have your charging papers, what you need to do, reach out. It's what it's all about at the end of the day. Somebody had asked that, and I can go back to Beverly, is there's no end date in the announcement. Legally, how long can an indefinite pause actually last?
Well, it's indefinite. So
Right.
it's, you know, we're all like at the mercy of the administration, waiting for them to, you know, to whatever they're looking for to find it so that they can lift the pause so that we can go on about our lives and, you know, continue to process these visas. But yeah, there's no end date. They haven't given any indication as to when it's going to end. So we are playing a waiting game.
Okay. All right, just wait and see.
Yeah.
Okay, the State Department says you can still attend an interview, which uh Nadine talked about today. But they won't issue the visa. Is it better to go to interview now or wait until the policy changes? What should we do at this stage?
I'm not sure I'm understanding the question. Can
It's
you repeat it?
sure anything for you, Nadine. But I think it's Beverly's question, but I'll still
What number is it?
number 5.
Oh, that's mine.
State Department says you
Oh,
can still
okay.
attend an interview, but they won't issue the visa.
Yes.
Is it better to go to the interview now or wait until the policy changes? What
Okay.
should
Yeah,
we do?
they should attend the interview, right?
Absolutely.
Even though the visa cannot be issued right now. So there are 3 important exceptions that I found where waiting may be smart, right? The case will be, if you go to the interview now, at least you will get the interview out of the way, right? And
Okay.
your documents, the document section of that case will be complete. So you get
Okay.
your documents, so you know, the case will be fully adjudicated and documentarily complete. And you know, because the interviews will continue, officers must fully adjudicate the case. And they when they they can refuse that, do a refusal that is tied to the pause that's currently in effect, but not a denial, right? Which means that the applicant will get through the hardest part, which is the interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
The officer will complete the public charge analysis, and the file will be ready for issuance of the visa the moment the pause lifts, right? And the advantage to doing that is that it will shave off some time, you know, it'll shave off some months off of the timeline later, and you avoid losing your place in the queue. Because once the pause is lifted, people are going to be rushing to get interviews in, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you skip or reschedule your interview, you may be pushed months out, and so the wait is going to be longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some posts are probably booking way late into 2026 already anyway. And yeah, if you attend your interview now, it preserves your priority.
Okay.
um
And just to add to that, don't forget that unlike the visitors visa and those like student visa, this process is not driven by you. It's driven by the embassy via the National Visa Center. So if they gave you tomorrow's date, for example, and they have not yet said to you, listen, Miss Flowers, don't bother come up here, you need to go,
Okay.
because as Beverly says, you need to preserve that
yeah.
date and all of that. You
Mm.
can't say to them, well, I had no idea I was to come because I read it in the paper that everything is on pause. That will be of no moment.
Right.
So if you have a date coming and you haven't had anything in writing from them,
All right.
Go.
my advice is that you go.
Right. Another thing that could happen, if you wait, your medical exams may expire, right?
Okay.
Your police certificates may expire, your financial documents, you may need to update them. And this creates extra cost and delay. Yeah, attending now actually freezes the case in a ready for issuance posture. So you go to the interview, and it's documented that, okay, this case is ready for the visa to be issued, so that once the pause gets lifted, bam, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
let the fault be theirs
Yes.
because they didn't do because whatever it is. Let it not be yours because you didn't go to
Right.
your interview. That's not a good idea at all. That's
Right.
not good strategy.
Right.
Mm.
Now, there may be some scenarios where it's better for you to wait, though, right? If you risk getting a negative public charge finding, right? If you are one of those people who, yeah, you came, and you, for whatever reason, you went on, which like somebody mentioned, the gentleman mentioned earlier, that hardly is the case with Jamaicans, because I remember when I just came here, I had 3 jobs. I was one of those people, sir, who had 3 jobs, and I was taking night classes. So if and also if your financials aren't up to snuff, if they're not strong enough, you might want to wait and kind of work on that. If you need a joint sponsor to shore up your application to make your financials a little stronger, you might want to do that.
Okay. Mr. Golden, any comment from you?
Well, just so everybody understands, they're in a new rubric. The rules that worked before, as far as co-sponsors and sponsors for financial purpose, are really going to be out the window, or they're going to be adding more requirements to show or for you to demonstrate that you won't be a public charge.
Mhm.
Because right now, uh, how they meet that requirement is that you have to have a sponsor who would do a financial affidavit, shows what they're earning, and commit to be in a contractual relationship where you must not be on the government coffers in 5 years, or they would become responsible, or until you become a
Exactly.
U.S. citizen. So those things are already in place. The
Mm-hmm.
mystery is going to be what is going to be added. Are they going to be looking at your educational background, your professional background, your likelihood that you'll be a high income earner if you come to the United States? Because understand, the policy has shifted from we're trying to reunify families to we want the brightest, the whitest, and the best here in America. So we're going to see some challenges. And people don't know because it's discretionary, and we don't even know if there's going to be an appellate process once they deny a person. Usually there's not when they deny you a visa. So the mystery is still out. And what I would do and say to folks who are in the process already, continue your processing, don't delay. I would also tell people who are intending to file for their relatives who might have to do consular processing to still file your documentation so you get into queue, so to speak, because trust me, these visa categories are long waiting, and you can spend up to 13 years sometimes waiting to be processed for a visa, depending if you're the sibling of a U.S. citizen and all of that. So still go through and put your paperwork in. If you have appointments, still make your appointments, and just hopefully that they will develop a mechanism that we can all work with as attorneys, especially to get clients through this process.
And
I like the
if I might add,
sure.
the State Department in, I think it was November, they mentioned some of the very terms that my friend just mentioned, because they have said that the visa officers now have a wider gambit in terms of the questions that they can ask. They can ask about your age, your health, and I'm reading from it, family status, finances, education, skills, and any use of past public assistance regardless of the country. Now, that to me was a little shocker, but it tells me that where they are going is to see, and I mean, we've always known this, are you going to come here and be a burden? And that's what the affidavit of support was supposed to basically ensure that they would feel that it would not be so. So I just stick that in there, since that's where we are in the discussion, I think. So that's an important caveat. And of course, don't forget about the whole business of your health, because again, in that November memo that the government put out, they also said not just that medical that people are going under as a regular rule, but they're supposed to be looking now to see if you've had cancer, if you've had diabetes, if you're overweight, if you're somebody who has high blood pressure, because those kinds of things possibly, should you be granted your immigrant visa, when you come here, apparently instead of landing at the airport, you end up at the hospital, and they want to make sure that that's not going to happen. So those are things that I think we have to be very mindful of as we proceed.
I just want to let you know that I gained weight when I came to the US. So, I'm just putting it out there. Donovan, do you have any questions for me as yet?
Yes, there's one that just showed up. Hold on, let me get to it. Oh, 5 of them.
Do you want me to come back or are you good? You good?
Hold on, Michelle. Let me see here. There's one I just read that makes sense. It says, I received my work permit and waiting for my green card. Does this freeze affect me? Yes, it does. Attorneys?
Sorry, the person received their green card?
If I receive my work permit.
Oh, work permit.
And waiting on my green card, does this affect me?
So they're here in the States. It should not affect them because they're already here. The big thing that we have to remember is, based on what the government has said, this is going to apply to people overseas. So if you're in Jamaica, think about going up to the embassy up at Ligani. If you're already here, it ought not to affect you. But then we don't have as much guidance as we hope. We're just looking at what they have told us. But it should not affect you.
It will only affect them, Donovan, if there is a problem with their case.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So even though they got their work permit, it's not a sure bet that they're gonna get the green card.
Okay.
Because
that's
their
a horse of a different color now, eh?
Yeah, exactly, right?
All right, here's an important one for you guys. All right. This is one I want to ask too. What about the visas for the athletes coming for Penn Relay in April? Will this affect them, their coaches, their chaperones, and anybody that's traveling?
Should not, because those are non-immigrant visas. Those are people who are not coming here to live. Think about it like this. I always like to think about it like this. people who are coming here to live are your immigrants. People who are coming here to play, people who are coming here to work, or people are coming here to study, those are your non-immigrants. So your visitors visas for going to look at the Statue of Liberty, your student visa because you're a top runner, you're going to University of Pennsylvania on top scholarship and academic scholarship and sports scholarship, or if you're coming for Penn or all of that, those persons should not be affected. What will affect those persons, which has always affected those persons, is the possibility of, to the visa officer, you're a runoff, and we all know what that means. That is what those persons should be concerned about. Providing enough information to the visa officers to convince them that you will return from whence you came, i.e. Jamaica, after Penn relays. That's what that really requires.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. One last one, Michelle.
Take your time,
When
take
was
your
the
time.
last time this pause happened, and for how long?
I think Beverly mentioned that.
She
That was
started to mention it.
yeah, that's a good question. Let me check that out and get back to you on that.
Okay. All right. Any other, Donovan?
That's it
No?
for now.
That's it for now. Okay. Thank you so much. Let me go to question number 8. If a Jamaican holds a UK or Canadian passport, can they bypass this freeze by applying under their own nationality?
No, I got that one, and I was thinking about it. Now, this is how I would answer that question, bearing in mind that you need to know all of the nuances of such a case. One of the main questions I would ask is, where does this person usually live? Because remember that when you are applying for your excuse me, your immigrant visa, you have to tell them where it is, the consulate that you're going to go to. That's the first thing. And you have to indicate in your paperwork, let's say we're just starting out, you're petitioning for me as your sister or whatever. You also have to give excuse me, information about where you've lived since you're 16 years old. Excuse me. And also you have to remember too that you will need a police report from everywhere that you have lived for more than 1 year. So those are little nuances that may well catch you with this particular question.
Okay.
So it's a tricky one. That is a tricky one, but it's a very good question.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anything from Saruba or Mr. Golden? Any comment on that question? No? We're good?
Yeah, I did see that there is something in their FAQ on dual national passports, and I'll put that in the chat. But I defer to the lawyers, practicing immigration attorneys on the details. But there is a question and answer in there about dual nationals, and so I believe it says something about dual nationals applying with a valid passport of a country that is not listed above or exempt from this pause. But again, I defer to the attorneys about what exactly that means for individual cases.
Okay. Any other
Oh, and
attorneys
if
saw
I
that?
could,
Okay.
I think this pause as it stands now is shocking to us because Jamaica is on it, because most of us here are probably Jamaicans. But don't forget that there is a travel ban on other countries.
Yes.
as
23 of the
well.
75
Right.
countries have a
So there
travel
are
ban.
some countries that actually they have that double whammy because they have what's that word now? That travel ban, and now they also have this pause. At least for Jamaica and some of the other Caribbean islands, because I counted 11 countries from the Caribbean were on it. But some of the other countries actually are under both. So those nationals, should anybody be on here tonight from any of those countries, will be facing, I guess, even more significant issues than say a national from Jamaica or somebody from Canada, because I think they said hold a UK or Canadian passport.
Okay.
So to answer the question, Donovan,
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time in history that a pause has been issued for so long, and that involves so many questions. During COVID, there was a pause. There was a travel ban.
Mm-hmm.
So but this is the first time, and those were as soon as the COVID lifted,
Mm.
the
They lifted
emergency,
too.
right? They lifted the ban, but this is the
Okay.
first time that it's such, they paint it with such a broad brush.
Mm.
75 countries and with no end in sight.
Wow. All right, here's a confidential one. If someone run off but are in the process of adjusting their status, would this ban affect them?
It depends on how they're adjusting status.
Oh.
Well, if they're here, if they're married to a U.S. citizen, right, they're
Mm.
gonna adjust status, in the normal
Right.
course of things, right? So, yeah, it shouldn't affect them.
But don't forget the little caveat that how you run off is important,
Mm.
because I found out by a matter some 2 or 3 years ago that if you came here as a crewman
You
to work on
can't
a
you
ship,
can't
you
adjust.
cannot
You cannot
adjust here.
adjust. Yeah.
So this person perhaps needs a little more
Could you please,
information.
could you
And
please, could you please repeat that?
yes, if you came here, let's say you signed up to work on Carnival cruise or the Disney cruise or whatever, and you come here and you find love and you decide, now go back to Jamaica or wherever it is you came from, and you marry your US citizen, hoping to adjust your status in the United States, you will not be allowed to do so, because a crewman falls in a very specific category in the law, and that particular person, male or female, will not be allowed to adjust here in the United States. He or she has to return to his or her country. So you return to Jamaica, or you could go to another country to do that. So that's one thing. Another thing, as it relates to persons who might have come here in this situation, could be persons who entered without permission. They call that entered
Enter
without
without
inspection, EW.
inspection.
So this person has a an issue that I think they need to get some very important nuances. And I think I noticed something in the chat that says that they're married to a
Green card
green
holder.
card holder. They can't adjust
No,
if you're married
no,
to a green
they
card
can't
holder.
adjust.
You can
Mm-mm.
only adjust if you're married to a citizen. They can
Mm.
put in the paperwork, but it is not going to be adjudicated on until the petitioner spouse becomes
U.S. citizen.
a US citizen. So this
So,
person needs to get some
Nadine, a green
information quickly.
card
Yes, ma'am.
holder cannot file for somebody,
Yeah, and you can file, but
but it won't be. Go
but
ahead.
you can't adjust here under
Okay.
the green card holder being the petitioner. You can't.
All right.
You
Thank
can't.
you. Did note that.
Sure.
Can I add something?
Sure.
And this is part of the practice of immigration law. There's always a caveat. And
Mhm.
immigration law is one of those dangerous areas of law where we have a lot of non-lawyers preparing documentation for people and even giving advice that they're not supposed to. The question about the crewman, person with a crewman visa, seaman's visa, is one that has other caveats to it where there are some exceptions where somebody with that kind of visa may be able to adjust in the United States. For example, if they were beneficiaries of VAWA, if they'd gotten it through before a certain time. So with everything that we're talking about here, there's always a caveat to it. So for those folks watching and listening, um, there's always a next step to the question being asked. And I'm glad the attorneys brought up the issues with people who are what we call EWIs, who entered without inspection, whether they can stay here and adjust their status. There are several things that can be done. Under President Obama, of course, we had waiver programs that came in so people can, in that status, would be able to leave the United States, get their documentation through consular processing, and then return to the United States with a waiver. if you were an overstay and all of that stuff. But this current situation we're in impacts all of that because even someone here who's planning to go back to their country of origin on a waiver to come back in will fall into that category where there's a pause and their applications are not going to be fully adjudicated until all of this is set to paper, as we say, and there are the rules available for us to know. So for some people, it means the gate is permanently closed, at least for now. Even if they were in this country and they were able to go back, adjust their status, or get their permanent residency and come back based upon the waiver. So there's a lot of caveats here.
Mm. Wow. Good to know. Thank you very much, Mr. Golden. Donovan, you have any more questions for me before I go to?
No, this one was just say what was the reason for the pause, but we already talked about that. And
Okay. All right. Someone wanted to ask, are there any, and I think we might have covered this already. Are there any emergency or humanitarian exception for elderly parents or children who are in the final stages of joining their families? And I think that's also important because a friend of mine at my job, her sister is almost to the end and at this point in time, but her sister is in Jamaica and she's filing for her and she's at the final stage where they're asking her to prove salary and all that stuff. And she was asking if for her as well, is that pause also in effect that her sister may never come over?
Before I'll take it, before I go to that, my good friend from Senator Coon's office dropped in the chat the the actual content of the ban, and for the one of the frequently asked questions related to the dual nationals, and it says dual nationals applying with a valid passport of a country not listed in the 75 are exempt from this pause. So that is a useful thing to know. And
Thank you.
then to go to this question now about the emergency or humanitarian exceptions. I want to be careful in how I answer this question. And I guess I will just say what I think Beverly said at the beginning, and I reiterated. If you have an appointment, go to that appointment.
Okay.
If you believe that you have an emergency or a humanitarian exception, make your plea in the format to the embassy, because that is the only thing that you can do. Make that plea, put the documentation in as it relates to this emergency, and do not forget that what is an emergency to you is not an emergency under the law to the embassy, because a death in the family is quite traumatic, but it is just a death in the family. I have seen situations where persons are literally at death's door and they have not been granted the visa, whether it is the immigrant visa, because they had other issues, or they just figured, this is something you guys can probably talk about on phone. As it relates to persons who are in the final stages, whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, just continue. Because, for example, remember that portal that the government gives you, that you're to upload your affidavit of support and you're to upload your police record and your passport and all of that. If you haven't been in that portal for a year, you stand a very grave risk of having to literally start over again. So I would say, if you are at the stage where you're putting your documentation into that portal, you continue to do so. If you were to go collect your police certificate from the police force for your fingerprints and so on, you do that. Whatever you were to do, I would say continue. Bearing in mind that this is happening, but at the same time, you have to do, in my humble estimation, what you can do at your end to push your process along, because they could come next week and say, we thought about it and we recognize that, as the gentleman, Mr. Wayne, said, you have the situation where the government has always asked a lot of persons who are coming to this country to live by way of the affidavit of support. If you have to literally be earning a particular minimum income as the petitioner, and if you can't, you have to get a co-sponsor. So we are at pains to figure out exactly what they want. So let's say they do their research overnight and they come back tomorrow and they say, we have recognized that all is well and we can proceed. You would be sitting there caught with your hands folded. That would be my advice.
And also, let us not forget that if your travel is in the U.S. national interest, it can fall under an exception too. If your travel is related to a national interest, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Donovan, should I
Yep.
keep on going or you have questions?
I have another question. This one says, what happened if your family member died? And usually a visa is granted in the case of a close relative. Will you still get that visa?
There are certain relatives that if they die, another relative can stand in their stead. I believe it's a parent or a spouse. I'm sure of those two categories, not sure of if there are others. I don't know if Beverly or Wayne or anybody else can back me up, but I'm sure of spouse and parent. So they call that humanitarian reinstatement. So let's say person X's mom was petitioning for them, and unfortunately, mom passed away after the approval of the petition. It has to be after, can't be before. Passed away afterwards. Then me as sister or you, Donovan, as brother, can stand in the stead of mom who is deceased and say, well, it's 20 years this thing has been taking. And mom was so distressed by the whole thing, she dropped down dead last year. But USCIS had approved the I-130. Here it is. And if it were that my sister, who was languishing in whatever country, were to wait, or for even me to petition for her, it would take another 400 years. And so we're asking you to approve, using your discretion to approve the documentation. So that is possible, but the categories are very, very
Very
small.
slim. And of course, it's done on a case by case basis. It's not automatic.
So Golden? No? Comment? Are you
Well, you have to understand that the burden is always on the petitioner and the applicants. And the rules shift as you go because even that situation, there's a humanitarian reason
Elements,
that you'll
yeah.
be asking. But the discretion is always up to the immigration authorities. There's no right to come to the United States. You have a right to petition for your relative, but it's not guaranteed that you would get an approval. I'll just tell you of one case that recently came down from the U.S. Supreme Court, which says a spouse has the right to apply for their spouse to become a permanent resident. However, the government has the discretion to deny that application. And that case was based on a wife filing for a husband who had a gang tattoo.
Gang tattoo, yeah.
Right. And the government determined that he was a potential gang member and would not grant his adjustment. And it went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. And of course, the court ruled in favor of the government. So what comes to mind with this situation is what kinds of legal challenges that people might seek to mount on the side of the petitioner, not the applicant, but the petitioner, and whether that would have an effect. Because immigration decisions really are basically ceded to the Attorney General and the President in this case. Congress has sort of, given that up a couple of years back, and it's very hard unless it's the passing of a new law that can put a pause to these kinds of actions by the government, especially when they clothe it in the sense of national security or protecting the American people. So it's going to be an uphill battle, and people have to just try and get as much good information as they can and not make any false moves during these times.
And that's why we are grateful and thankful for each of you that are on tonight to just put our mind at ease, so to speak. Lorraine, can you come off mute and ask your question?
Hello, Michelle. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much. Sarah, I'm gonna mess up your name.
No, that was great.
Oh goodness. What I just want to kind of put out there to the group, only because I had to do it 2 years ago when my dad died. I asked for I asked for my grandson to go to the embassy in Jamaica and put in an expedited visa. Now, granted, we only have like 10 days. It was not one of these, I'm burying you a month from now. And what I did when I did the work in Jamaica requesting it and the expedition of the visa there, Senator Coons' office, I asked them to help assist, given that it was a grandfather and my grandson had never seen him. Now, granted, this is a dead body, so we didn't know if they were going to pick at that, but they did not. So I think that sometimes when you're going, you can combine maybe the immigration with, if you have a supportive senator like I do, a couple of them, and just say, I hear this is what I'm doing. Do I have your support? And it may even be that much easier. That's what I'm putting out there. A lot of us don't use our Senate, Congress, or what have you to do things, because I don't know if we think they're off limits. They're not. And I can tell you from Senator Coons' office and our interaction is good as most others. If you have to reach out to them. So
They can't hear nothing.
Yeah. I'll just chime in there, and thank you, Lorraine, for that.
You're welcome.
Our constituent outreach team is very, very good, and they do a lot of hard work to work cases for anyone who's from Delaware. And for all of you, wherever you are, I certainly encourage you. Even if you're in a state with Republican senators that may not seem as friendly, what you'd be amazed by is how much they behind the scenes will sometimes do help their constituents, even as they're supporting policies that are very much harming their constituents. And so, I would certainly agree with that. I mean, I will say on something like this, unfortunately, our office is going to be very limited, in terms of, if they do a blanket pause, like this for immigrant visas, I can tell you that our constituent outreach team, I mean, they're very happy to talk to you, and see how they can help and make inquiries. But unfortunately, some of these things are just dictated at a higher level, and these policies are not particularly flexible. But you should always, I fully agree with Lorraine, always, try to take advantage of that. Talk to, you do have elected representatives whose job it is to look out for your interests, and see what you can get from that avenue.
Thank you. Good to know. Remember, Lena, you're a senator. Reverend Nielsen, you have a question? Okay. No, okay, all right. Donovan, any more questions there?
Just one more here. It says, to those who have VAAA or pending interview to remove conditions for green card cases that are in America, would they be affected?
No, once you're here, you ought not to be affected. Remember that's what we said. Think about it. Embassy, that is overseas, those will be affected. If you're here, you are not affected, as far as we are aware, as of 8:03 p.m. on the 21st of January, 2026.
Unless, of course, there's a reason, there's a problem with when they file to remove conditions,
No,
they don't
them.
qualify, right?
I think they're talking about the ban, the pause.
The pause. Oh, no, it
Yeah,
won't affect
the
that.
pause. The
Mm-hmm.
pause should not affect.
So the most important thing we need to remember is if you're outside of the US, inside
It
here,
affects you.
you're there
Mhm.
as of 8:04, you are within safety.
Yes.
And something that Mr. Golden remind us of is the queue that you could possibly be in. So if you're planning on filing, go ahead still and
Yes.
do it.
Go ahead.
Because as he said, that can take 10, 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But even if nothing is going on, you're in the queue. So you want to make sure you continue to file your paperwork and do whatever. So I will always remember that and tell everybody it doesn't matter. Yeah, there's a pause, but keep on doing what you have to do. In addition,
And if I might, Michelle,
yeah, sure. Oh, definitely.
people have to realize that your case is won before you submit it.
Wake up, Kristen.
Your case is won before you submit it, and therefore your case is also lost before you submit it. So you can't say, I've been married for 15 years and my marriage is a real marriage, and I just went submit the petition and the marriage certificate and my birth certificate and my proof of US citizenship. And because that's what the paper said. Let's say you're doing it for yourself, or even if you have a lawyer, you fight out the lawyer and say, that's the only thing I'm giving you. Think about your immigration case. I'm a criminal lawyer by nature. I did criminal law for years in Jamaica. Evidence is what wins the case. Yes, there's a pause, but think about it like this. What evidence can I bring, i.e., submit to USCIS or to the visa center, whatever, that will prevent them from having to say, we need more from you? I think far too often we are, to use our word, lackadaisically just submit two little pieces of paper because your thing is real, because it is obvious that me and my husband or me and you and your wife are deeply in love. That's not how it works. Documentary paperwork must speak on your behalf in your absence. When they call you in for that interview, it should merely be to reiterate what they've already seen on the papers, that you are a fit and proper person to be allowed into the United States on an immigrant visa, i.e., your green card. That's my little 2 cents.
And we'll take your 2 cents. Okay. All right. So right now, I think we want to open the floor. If you have any immediate questions, now is your time to ask based on this law. It is what it is. It's a waiting game at this point in time. Am I correct, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
It is a waiting game. But just know, one, keep on filing. Two, if you have to go to the interview, go to the interview. I was gonna bring in ice, but I'm gonna leave that alone. When I thought about interviews and being picked out, but we're not gonna go to that tonight. But what are you thinking? What are your questions? The floor is open. So let me know what you wanna. Okay, go ahead, James.
Unmute, James.
Thank you.
You don't have to raise your hand.
Hold on, let me see if I can have him unmute.
Unmute. Okay, found it.
Okay.
All right. I've always been curious. I've heard a lot of mention just now. I joined late, by the way. Sorry. Wasn't aware that you guys were having this kind of a forum. My wife just sent me the link a couple of minutes ago.
Good
All right.
wife.
So yeah, she's awesome. I can tell you.
It's a real marriage, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm in Jamaica, by the way, and my process is ongoing. I just recently submitted the last two civil documents that were required of me. Um, so as it stands, my case now is in the hands of NBC to be adjudicated and then sent on to the consulate here. All right, so I'm smack in the middle of the pause. All right.
Yes.
My
Sorry.
question though, yeah, it sucks, I know. Yeah. My question though, is a little bit off tangent. So I've heard mention made of the length of time that the filing process could take years. Always been curious as to why it takes that long or why it potentially could take that long, and if there is any particular situation in which that time could be reduced. If there's anything the petitioner or the applicant could do. For example, um, I've heard of cases, close friends of mine or acquaintances, where their process has gone through in as little as a year or just over a year. So, in other cases where the process takes years, why would that
Well,
Right.
one thing I can tell you for sure is that it's a queue, it's a line.
be?
That's the first
Oh,
thing. Second thing is it depends on where your documents are being processed, because documents are
okay.
processed all over the country. Some are processed in California, Vermont, here, there. So that also
Oh,
will affect your processing. And
okay.
even for those persons who say, "Oh yeah, my thing come through in a year or 2 minutes or 6 weeks,"
Mm,
there still was a point in time when they were at the back of the line. So
mhm,
I always say to people, don't watch that. Just make sure you've given them all that you need to give them, and then
mhm,
after some time you can start following up to say what's happening. They always put a processing time in the
mhm.
documentation, and people take it as gospel, but it is really, I believe, pardon me, an average processing
Yeah, like a
time that you
guideline.
bring, right? So don't. I have clients who will call the 31st day and say, Miss Flowers, I don't understand what going on. You never said them say 30 days. And I'm like, me and you never hold that conversation. The paper said 30 days, but you know for a fact so and so that
Mhm,
it takes as long as it takes. I can
mhm,
write them a letter, but that's
mhm.
about all I can do. So,
Yeah, okay.
that's something
And
to
So,
remember too that these are human beings who are processing these applications. And it depends on who
right.
gets that case. It might be somebody who is not as quick, to respond as somebody else.
Okay.
And I mean,
So
it's
I think my
depending on their
case,
caseload.
okay. I think my case would be in Vermont. Um, my wife is in Jersey. I think,
Well,
what was it?
can I interject a little bit
Sure.
here? To just bring you back to how the process actually works with different visa categories. What
Mhm,
happens is that every year they allocate a certain amount of visas to the different categories, whether it's a sibling filing for a sibling, a a parent filing for a child, depending on your status, green card, U.S.
mhm,
citizen, and they assign a certain numbers. Now, when those numbers run out, they have to wait for more numbers to become available. So think of it like you're waiting on a bus, and the bus comes, and you're
and
in
they
a
have a
line
certain
for the
amount of
bus.
seats.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
So that's
Yeah.
part of the processing time for different visa categories. And
Yeah, okay.
also, the other part could be documentary, evidentiary issues. And the
Mhm,
other, like your in your category, if your U.S. citizen spouse is filing for you, there's really
yeah.
no visa wait for a visa itself. It's actually the processing time, depending on the workload, where it is, what kind of documentation they might ask for again, many
Okay.
different factors. So some people, like I've had clients in the same exact situation, U.S. citizen filing for a spouse, I file for one in January, they get through 2 years after because they want more things. Or I file
Okay.
for one in January and they get through in June. So, it all depends. Never compare your case to another person's case because you
Yeah,
don't know
definitely.
what their situation is.
Right.
And people tend to do that all the time. Well, somebody applied after me or the same time and they've gotten through. You don't know what's involved in their processing.
In their process.
So
Okay. That
all
makes
you can
sense.
do is to make sure you satisfy every requirement that they have during your processing, and it will
Hmm.
fall in the line in time. As far as expedited processing, they really don't have any any
There's
provisions
nothing
for
we
that.
can
So
do. Yeah.
right, but you can always try to keep up, keep informed, send them an
Hmm.
email, check on your file, but that's no guarantee that they'll even respond.
Okay.
Thank you all for doing this, James, and we are hanging in there with you. We'll see you at some time,
Yeah.
us, but just hang in
Yeah.
there for now,
I
right?
hope
This
so.
too shall pass.
Yeah.
All right, let us go to Stafford next. Stafford, could you come off mute
Oh,
and ask
yes.
a question?
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Um, for
Stafford,
the
are you also calling from Jamaica?
no, I'm back.
Okay, just checking. All
Yeah.
right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, for the attorneys, do the USCIS website, do they give regular updates in particular to the ban or the pause on their website?
The pause
Yes,
just
you'll
came into
find that.
effect today.
And that's a good question because there's something that I wanted to share. Generally speaking, let me just find that note. I think Wayne alluded to it earlier about credible sources, and that's crucial. There's a lot of information in a lot of spaces, but you want to make sure that you're getting your information from the credible sources. So the USCIS website, the State Department website, excuse me, Department of Homeland Security, our own consulate, and gatherings such as these. There is a place for social media. I'm on social media. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram. But there are also lots of other people who are in those other spaces, and the information they may give you may not be accurate, may not even pertain to you. So I just want to put that out there. And especially now that things are so up in the air and all of us are uncertain as to what is going to happen next, I would urge persons to make sure that they check the credible resources for information. So that's a long answer. USCIS does offer information on these things, as does the State Department, because that's where I went to get my bits and pieces of information. And I think, oh dear, I don't want to um, make a mess of your name from Senator Coons' office. Please remind me how to pronounce your name.
It's Sarab.
Saran, he put the information in here from the State Department. So those are good sources for us to check to find out exactly what is happening.
Thank you very much. Donovan, you have any question or should I go to the next? Any question in the chat, Donovan? No? All right, then we'll go to Jennifer James and then we come back to Donovan. Jennifer, go ahead with your
Hi,
question.
thank you so much, Michelle, for putting this on. I invited a bunch of our group from Massachusetts to come and listen to you. So my question was, and I think it may have been answered already because one of the concerns that we had was credible information coming out, and how do we get access to credible attorneys that can really answer these questions? Because because I'm a part of your team, your 15-state team, I was able to get it through you. But how do people from other state that doesn't have access to your group? I'm wondering, how do we get the information out to them?
But the first question I'll ask them though is, even though you guys are in Philadelphia, can't you help somebody in Massachusetts where immigration is concerned?
Yeah.
Yes, we can do all 50 states.
Right. So Jennifer, you can always use them.
But
you can always.
But isn't it certain attorneys are only attorneyed for like certain state? Like I know I've heard of other attorney that says their bar is only for like New York, Massachusetts, like 3
That's
states.
your
But you
bar.
So
That's your
Jennifer,
bar. But
yeah.
immigration law is
okay.
federal. So we
Right.
can operate in the space, all of the 50 states,
Okay.
Yeah.
to help persons with their immigration cases, because we're not doing like criminal law, we're not doing
Got you.
contracts, we're not
Right.
doing real estate, we're doing immigration, which is one of the federal laws.
Categories.
So anywhere in the country,
Yeah, and
our services can be utilized.
let
And
me
don't
jump in
forget,
here for a
oh, sorry, let
second.
me just finish. And don't forget, you have lots of non-profits that offer excellent advice, because a lot of them have attorneys as well. Some of the law schools, like for example, I live near to University of Pennsylvania. They have, I think it's Penn Carey Law School or something. They have several immigration clinics there that can be of assistance to persons.
So I'm checking Massachusetts for that too. Okay, Mr. Golden. Yep.
Yeah, one of the things that I advise people oftentimes to look for is that if somebody's telling you that an immigration situation only applies in a certain state, you need to run in the other direction. Because immigration law covers the entire 50 states. It's the same wherever you live, wherever you are, whichever immigration court you're in, whichever district office you're going through. The law is the same across. Attorneys who are barred in any state can practice immigration law in any of the 50 states. Doesn't mean that they're great or they're good attorneys, but they're able to do that. Second thing I always tell folks, if you're looking for an immigration attorney, referrals are best. And beyond that, you can always check with your bar association, local bar association, local disciplinary agency to make sure that these attorneys are in good standing and that they don't have a zillion complaints out there against them. Not that every complaint is justified, because we know how that goes. But it's buyer beware. You have to do your homework before you put your life, because it's your life that you're putting in an attorney's hands when they're handling an immigration issue for you or your family member. So due diligence on your part is required. Don't wait until after everything collapses. You're saying, if only I knew. So please exercise due diligence. As I said, referrals are usually the best way to go. And then beyond that, go to the different bar associations to check on the reputation or the disciplinary background of that attorney.
Does that help you, Jennifer?
Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Welcome. Any additional questions at this time? If not, I will ask each person to give me their last words or last comment, and I'll start off with Saru. What is it that you want to leave us with, and we should be thinking of as a community while we are in this pause? Yeah.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much for having me on this panel. I think. I mean, look, the very fact that you are here and you're engaged is already a real testament to, you're doing the right thing, and you're getting information from attorneys. You're, talking to other people in your community about this. You were asking questions. I want to just reiterate the points that were made before about, when you have an issue, talk to your senator, talk to your representative. When you have concerns, reach out to the senator in office. I will tell you, I'm meeting on Friday with multiple Delawareans who are worried about ICE, understandably, and what's happening in Minnesota, to talk to them about their concerns. And I advise the senator directly. I'm going to tell the senator exactly what these 4 people I'm meeting with are going to tell me. You'd be surprised, just being a regular person, how much your outreach can make a difference, and get to the people who really matter. So, especially if you live in states that have Republican senators and congressmen, because those are the people we need to take action more than anything. But keep doing that, and always see Congress and your elected representatives as a resource. So thank you again for for allowing me to participate. And I really appreciate this conversation.
You're welcome. We will be reaching out to you again. This might be a first, but I'm telling you, it won't be your last, because I'm sure
Okay.
this is not a topic that's going away anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if this, after we have settled this pause, then there will be something else. Mr. Golding, what are your parting words for the audience?
It's muted.
Mr. Gold is still muted.
Okay.
No.
Just to let you guys know, which you probably do, this is just the beginning. There are more things to come. There are more things in the pipeline that they're talking about, including denaturalization of citizens. So what I'm encouraging people to do is that if you benefited from any immigration process coming to the United States, whether you're a citizen or not, you should request a complete copy of your immigration records through the Freedom of Information Act. Because it's so funny, sometimes people come into my office to do immigration applications for relatives. You ask them, where's your citizenship paperwork, your certificate? They have not seen it for 20 years. But you need to get a complete copy of your file. Some of it may be redacted, but it's good to have that on you. And more importantly, understand that it's a policy discretion that the U.S. government has with regards to immigration. It's something in their foreign policy toolbox, and they might use it, tell you they're using it for one thing when they're actually using it for another. So be prepared. More to come.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Golden. I will reach out to you as well. I'm sure you'll come on in the next 2 weeks when we have something else to talk about. It's just a matter of time, right? 2 weeks I give you guys, just a 2-week break, and then we'll be back here. Another topic. Hopefully, we can talk a little bit more about denaturalization. We can talk a little bit more about ICE, Minnesota, and see where that's going. Nadine, parting words for us.
Be cautious and be careful. Things are moving at a very fast pace. I totally endorse what Wayne said. Have a copy of your documents. Too often people just say, the lawyer never give me. It belongs to you. Ask for a copy. If you're filing it yourself, you have no excuse. Go to FedEx or Staples and copy the document and keep it at home. All of your documentation. As it relates to this, we don't know where it's going, so we try to be as prepared as possible to meet whatever is coming. And something that I always like to touch on when I do these presentations, when things are uncertain, scammers unearth themselves. People will tell you this and people will tell you that. Oh, Michelle, you can apply for this, man, and you can apply for that. Please don't lose your hard-earned money to people who are sitting down ready to scam you simply because you're stressed out about this situation. There are good resources out there that can help you. Reach out to them.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I go to you, Beverly, Donovan, is there a question in the chat?
One final one.
Okay.
Has a panel been done discussing how people can safely self-deport, and how can they do that?
Is it possible anybody can answer that question quickly? And if you self-deport, you get $2,000 or something like that? Is there some funding attached
one of the
to it?
issues I was hearing.
Yeah.
So
anybody can speak to that?
You want to self-deport. I mean, I don't know the nuances of it because there's a process that they told you about, but if you want to go ahead and just go buy a ticket, that's my humble opinion. Just go buy yourself a ticket. But if you're in the system or if you wish to take them up on the offer, then you have to go through that process. But unfortunately, I don't know the process. I have had clients who in the past, long before all of the dramas started, say, listen, this thing is too much. I can't take the stress of this country. And they have bought a ticket with their expired Jamaican passports and have gone back and are living their best lives in the sun.
I actually have a client who self-deported to Canada, and yeah, he got it was $1,000 then, and he did get
Okay.
it. Hmm.
Mr. Golden, do you know anything? Any comment on self-deporting?
Yes, but I tell people don't trust these folks. Enter at your own risk. You might go in for self-deportation and you end up being grabbed and being deported forcefully. So the best thing for people who are interested in that is to contact an attorney and have the attorney make the right connections and do it that way. Don't you can't fight these people by yourself, trust me.
Agreed. Agreed. Beverly Clark?
Parting words.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just to tell people to hang in there. I mean, this too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever. And if you ever have the time on a Monday at 11 o'clock, join us down. And if you are able to, if you're not scared of being accosted by ICE, join us down at Arch and 8th Street for the watch. There's a watch, ICE watch. Kind of, it's not a party, but there are people who assemble there every Monday at 11 o'clock just to support people who are going in for their interviews. I've been down there, and I felt good doing that. It's a little demonstration. People have signs, and they're telling ICE to, get out of their city. We don't need them here.
Okay.
Oh, and I mean, be careful though. If you're not straight, don't do that. But
Okay.
if you have the time and you're able to do that,
Okay.
11 a.m., right?
yes. 8th Street and Arch, right at the
Don-
ICE facility.
I if I
Donovan, are you coming all the way from Connecticut for that?
Of course.
Okay.
if
Go ahead, Reverend Nielsen.
I am just jumping in as I heard that, and I'm glad to hear, um, Beverly, that you're participating in that. I should let you know that there is a similar action that I have organized. In fact, what you're referring to on Mondays is organized by Senator Hart Aywood.
Yes.
Uh, I'm not going to get into into that, but on Wednesdays, we had it today. On
Okay.
Wednesdays at 12 noon, we don't do the same thing. At least I would like to think so. But we're serving the same cause. This is a faith-based, and I'm sure Monday is also faith-based. Senator Hart Edward and I were talking well before uh, we rolled out these things. But on Wednesdays at 12 noon, we're doing faith-based right out the same location, the very same location.
Okay. Okay,
And
that's good to know.
yeah, and just for you to know, we call it. The name is ICE, stands for ICE, that you know, Profest, PROFEST 40. Profest stands for professing our faith through prophetic proclamation, persistent prayer, and peaceful protest. And the 40 stands for 40 weeks. So it's a 40-week action, started back in November the 19th, I believe, and it will end in August. So it's every Wednesday, 12 noon, that we meet. Many of the people that are there on Monday come over and are part of us on Wednesdays, because there's a lot of cross pollination going on there. But just to let you know that it is interfaith, uh, Catholics, and as well as ecumenical, Catholics, Mennonites, Quakers, um, Unitarians, Presbyterians, United Methodists, uh, Jews, um, are all lead. Different groups lead every Wednesday, and sometimes they come together as an interfaith or ecumenical and lead together. Similar action we have inspired in Norristown. If you live in Norristown, that action started yesterday, and it's called the Norristown Praise. And they started yesterday at 2 p.m. So if you're in that area and you want to participate in that, they are an offshoot of what we are doing on Wednesdays. So please keep that in mind. If you want to get any more information on that, please give me a call. You can get my information through Michelle.
Sure. Thank you so much. Before I give my wrap up, is there any last comment? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I didn't get to shout out everyone, but I love to do that. But just know that you are in my heart and I thank you. But before I go, two things I need to mention. As you know, re-election is on, so it would be a miss if I didn't mention that. I am seeking re-election as a Global Jamaica Diaspora Council for the Northeast. Registration closes on Saturday. So you have approximately 3 days to do that. If you do not register, you cannot vote. And I do need your vote because I would like to continue the work that we have started. We have so much more to do. But nevertheless, thank you, Wayne Golden Sr., for coming on. Nadine Atkinson Flowers, Beverly Clark, Sarub Sangvi, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy Wednesday afternoon to come out and educate us. Please know that I will be calling you. You don't really have an option because I need you. It's just that, no, on a serious note, this is a very important topic. This affects lives. And so I will be reaching out. And as I said, 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, we'll be having this conversation around another topic. When it's safe enough, we can talk a little bit more about ICE, but I'm always very cautious and want to take a step back when it comes to ICE because I don't want any and everybody get in trouble. Or when I have forums on ICE, I tend not to record it at all for security reasons. So,
wow.
Yeah, because we have to be careful. We have to protect each other. So that's where we are. But most importantly, thank you all for coming out. Thank you for supporting this. Thank you for supporting all the forums. If you have an idea on something else that we should be talking about, do not hesitate to reach out to me. Donovan will find people, Lorraine will find people, and we'll come and get all the experts to talk about whatever subject matter.
Michelle, I think you better make it clear to everybody because maybe I'm not the only one who is goofy here. When you are telling everybody to make sure they register by
Saturday.
You're right. Okay. So does that mean doing the voting then? When is the deadline for the voting or just to register to vote?
Just to register to vote is this Saturday, January 24th.
Okay, and the voting is?
It starts on Wednesday, January 28th.
Good
to
point,
when?
Lorraine.
Just
That
one
was a
day?
good point. Yeah.
No, it's January 28th to
February.
February 2nd.
February something.
Does anybody have that information right there? Donovan, do you know the ending? Yes, it's actually February 2nd.
Okay, good. Yeah, all right. All right, very good. I'll put that up in a thing and send it around on my commission.
Right. And just remember, if you have 1 ounce of Jamaican blood in you, you can vote. That's it. If you're married to a Jamaican, you can vote. If your great grandmother was a Jamaican, you can vote. Before I go, Mr. Vincent, you have a question?
Yes. You actually answered the question. My great grandmother, mother-in-law was a Jamaican, so it qualifies me along that line. My question, if you can answer this, is regarding the information that's required to register. Who has access to those ID information? How will they be stored?
How will they be stored?
Yes.
So first thing I must say to you, you can use either your Jamaican ID or your American ID. So you can use Jamaican passport or US passport. A Jamaican driver's license or US driver's license. You can use a Jamaican voter's ID, right? So either one of them is applicable. Know one thing for sure, and I think Donovan can back me up on this. All information after the election is dumped because Jamaica doesn't need that information at all, which is one of the reasons why every 3 years you have to register because they do not keep your information.
Correct.
And if you, Michelle, may I add, if at all possible?
Yeah.
I'm wonderful, thanks. I just want to advise persons that you must vote within the jurisdiction that you live in.
Thank you.
You cannot ask someone who is in California to vote for someone over here in the northeast of the United States. You must be living in within the jurisdiction that you're voting, and your IP address will represent that.
Thank you so much. So there are three. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
What if you're traveling for work? Is there any
I didn't
allow?
hear you.
If you're traveling, if you're working, you have a lot of nurses who do travel. You have a lot of people who travel for jobs. Sometimes, just like how you have traveled, Michelle, to fulfill your duties, you may be in a different location, not because you're living there, but just because you're traveling.
Did you eat your dinner?
No, you
I
still
think
vote
it's more where
where you live.
you reside. Go ahead, Donovan.
Yeah, you vote like Michael just said, you vote in your constituency to where you live. Not because you're traveling, you're just traveling temporarily, but that's not your permanent address.
No, what I'm saying is, if I'm traveling, I'm in California, I'm going to be there for a month or two, and I get enough a phone or internet and vote. Does that disqualify the vote?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Kimoy, you have a question?
No, I was gonna clarify that as well. It doesn't. It's based on the ID.
Michelle.
Okay, great.
Who is asking
Yeah.
me a question? Somebody's
Yes,
asking.
Stafford.
Oh, hi, Stafford. Okay.
Yes. In regards to the ID thing, you can use your TRN, Jamaican TRN. You don't have to have a picture ID if you're kind of really skeptic about that.
As
Because
far as I know, I'll double check on that, but I was told the TRN was not, you were not able to use it because there's no picture attached to a TRN.
well,
So
if
I
they
will,
don't, if that is not acceptable, well, my registration is not valid because it's accepted. I got my email and everything said I'm ready to cast my vote, and that's what I use.
hold on.
Somebody
1
TV.
minute. Somebody's television. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, Stafford. Go ahead. So you're saying you use your TRN without the photo ID?
Yeah, I uploaded the TRN and
Well, that's good to know.
went through the process. I got it was accepted, and I got my email said ready to cast my vote. So that's why I'm saying that, because I was very skeptical about the same question that the gentleman asked about the how safe it is and things with that. But I tried the TRN. I spoke to someone and said, that's an ID that recognizes you as a Jamaican from there. So I uploaded it. And the whole process went through, and I got my email said I'm ready to vote now when it's open. So that's why I was just adding that anyway.
And I'm not disagreeing with your software, but what I'll do, I'll send an email out just to confirm that is good information. And if so, I'll send out a mass email tomorrow. Like, guess what? Going forward, we can use a TRN. I did not hear about the TRN, but thank you so much for bringing that up. And Barbara, just want to remind you that the Northeast is 13 states. So even though Michael was, he's talking about if you're living in the West or the South, no,
That's why I use that. That's why I use that.
Yes.
I also wanted to say, I'm sorry.
Hold on, Michael, wake up. 1 minute. I'll come back to you in a quick second. Hold that thought. Reverend Nielsen, you had a question, then Jennifer, and then Michael.
Yes. Regarding the voting, registering rather, is there a way to check to see if you are already registered? The system. In my case, I'm pretty sure that I registered twice. I assure
they
you
will
that I
throw
will
one
not
out.
be
They will throw
voting.
one out.
Well, certainly I will not be voting twice, but I registered and I didn't remember if I did or not, because as if I recall, the original cutoff date was extended.
Correct.
And so when all of that happened, I just did not remember if I registered or not. So I went back in to register. And as I went through the process, I distinctly remember going through the process. I would have preferred to have been able to go into a system somewhere and just verify and confirm that I already registered. That way I would not need to do the registration again.
It's interesting that you said that, because I tried, because I wanted to find out something for someone, and I tried, and it wouldn't allow me to re-register. It was like, you already registered. It recognizes my email address. So you have better luck than me. Maybe did you use a different email address?
It is possible. I have a whole lot of different email addresses.
And that could be the reason why, because it's going by your email address. All right, Jennifer, and then Michael. Go ahead, Jennifer.
So I think I'm glad we're talking about this because I've been trying to register for a whole month, but I finally got registered like this week, like Sunday. But I've been trying forever to register. And some of my concern was also if, my private information, I got to put my driver's license in. I've been telling people that I'm 35 and now I have to really actually say my real age. So I was concerned with putting my driver's license in. And I know it did say that it will destroy the information within 3 months, is that, I think, or something like that, of the updates or something. So I was very concerned about that because I was wondering if there's a way they could put that two-stage identification thing, or what's that called, where you gotta put a prompt to make sure it's you, because I am concerned that who has my information now, because I am registered, but I struggled to register it. It wouldn't go in. I tried, it wouldn't go in. It finally went in. So now I'm concerned about that. And I guess I'm concerned about who's seeing that data, who's stealing the data, sending it down to ICE, for example.
All right. I did ask that question and I did get a response. And what I'll do, I'll post the answer in the WhatsApp group for everybody to see exactly how you are protected. So I did ask that question like a month ago, and they gave me a whole lengthy thing on that. So I will post that in the group for everybody to read. And if you have any additional questions, I'll follow up for you.
I have one more question real quick. So
Michael, 1 minute. 1 minute, Michael. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, one quick. I didn't, how I'm glad that you came on to Facebook and did that thing about being a person to be voted for. Where is that information on there? Because is that coming soon? Like when I check on it, I clicked who's going to be voted for. I didn't see you, or I didn't see anybody's, the profile and what they're about. Is it going to come later?
No,
there's a section that this is meet the candidates or something.
It's there right now. You'll go in and see all 42 candidates.
Are there now? Okay. It wasn't there the other day. Okay. Thank you.
No, because they posted everything this morning, 21st.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it did say the 21st, everything will be posted.
Oh, did it? I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. I'm here for that. All right, Michael, next.
Okay. Two questions I have, I think. There was an amendment as to the criteria necessary for a candidate to be eligible for the elections. Was that what's the update on that? Because I have not seen anything where that is concerned. And who are the candidates in this Northeast region that are running for the office of representation?
If you want, Michael, I will find. I'll look for everybody's name for you. But as I said, all the 42 candidates for the entire region that is running is now available for everybody to look at today. If not, I will go on and find out everybody in the Northeast for you.
Because I hear the 42 persons that are running globally. That's globally, but who are the persons that we are voting for in the Northeast area? You don't know who your competitors are?
I know a few of them, but to say I know them all, no, because the list came out today as well, Michael. So I was not privy to the list of candidates.
Okay.
I'm privy just like you. Everybody's saying, nobody called me and said, Michelle, by the way, so and so is running. No, I saw it today when I went on as well.
And then my last question, and I promise I'll be quiet from here on. Who are the members? Who are the members of the selection committee, and why is it so private and no one knows who they are?
Is it private, Donovan?
No, it's not private.
No,
so who are they, Donovan?
Me, me, Donovan. I think they're what? More like what? 12 of us, if I'm not mistaken. I know a couple of people left, but it's all on the site, and everybody.
It's on the site, Donovan. You sure? It wasn't when I last checked.
It's updated. Did you check today?
Oh no.
Okay, they updated.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I'm the controversial type, so bear with me.
No, it's the
Questions
right
are
thing.
good. Questions are good, Michael.
Question, no. Not controversial at all. Jennifer, again, go ahead.
No,
I just forgot.
me not answering no more question. Me all set. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I know it's up. That's why. I'm
Are you
sorry.
still up? Let me take it
Yes.
down.
Anne Marie Patterson, can we? Oh, she just came off. What was her? Donovan, can you see what was her question?
Oh, put the link for the site.
To register. Okay.
Yeah, to see everything else. Yeah, I'll get to it.
Okay. It's
Connect me.
connectmeja.com, right?
Mhm.
/ register. Connect me. Any more question before we have Reverend pray us out? And again, thank you all.
Arlene.
Hold on. connectmeja.com / register, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There you go. Somebody else. Oh,
I have a
Arlene.
question. Yes.
Go
Hey,
ahead.
hi, Michelle. Quick question. Who do I follow up with if I have not received an email? And I've submitted my information and was really skeptical, you know that, about putting my information in. Is there a contact person to follow up with? Because I haven't.
The process is that once you submit your information, it has to be approved. So that means because you didn't receive something, that means you didn't get approved yet. Like people, it's a process to approve people as they
How long does
enter
it
them.
take more?
It's not an automatic process. Like someone has to go in the system and approve it.
Okay, is there a time frame that they usually take for reviewing? It's been
It's an in progress. So it's gonna be done. Everyone should be done by the cutoff time of the 24th.
okay. All right, thanks.
I'd also reach out to the email address.
Yes, and if you still don't get it by, I want to say like tomorrow, then like tomorrow, the next day, then you should email that.
No, they have returned. It's like 5 days. They have returned a response.
I'm sorry.
I said reach out to them via email or to the system or whoever it is, but the email was not responded to us yet.
Let me double check because what happened was there was a different chair prior, and that person had access to the email, and they needed to reset the password to give it to the new chair, and the new chair didn't have access to it. And nobody else had access to it. I thought that was sorted, but it's possible that it wasn't. But it's something that they're working on.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Kumar. It's good to have people on the committee. Yeah, I don't have as much information
Yeah.
as thank you
Michelle,
guys for
can I just say this? I just ask. I don't hear you mention anything about paper ballot. If how they can submit by paper ballot. You said only registered and vote online. I know there's something on the website about it. The JD website about how you can vote. So
yeah, there is a paper ballot. The interesting thing about that is that the paper ballot location would have been in New York. I need to follow up on that since I don't know what the new Ariel Bowen is doing at this time where that is concerned. But I could ask. We were trying to look at to see if Chris Chaplin, Honorary Counsel Chris Chaplin, could do the one for Philadelphia. So that was the last conversation I heard regarding the ballot, paper ballot. But it's only available on the first day, and it's at a specific location. Donovan, do you guys know the location? Have that been decided upon?
They're still working on it.
Oh, you're breaking up, Donovan.
No, I said it's still working on it, and it should be done within a day or two.
Okay, got you. Okay. So Stafford within
Michelle,
another day or two. Sorry,
after
hold
the
on 1
event
minute.
is over, please give me a call.
Sure, Stafford within a day or two, you should be able to know about that location as well, where the paper ballot can be done. Because they're working on it. All right. Okay. Yes, Michelle, Lucane Roll. Yes, that's the address. connectmeja.com/register. This email address to register. Thank you. All right, that's it. Any more? There's no other additional question, but you guys have my number. You can always call and email me. Again, thank you very much to all our panelists for coming on.
Night night.
On on this event. Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
everybody. Bye bye.
Night night, everybody. Have a good
All right,
one. Thanks
Reverend
again.
Nielsen,
Thank
can you pray?
you.
Sarab, hugs. Mimi, night night.
Yeah, 1 minute. Reverend Nielsen is going to pray us out.
Oh, we're going to pray. Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's pray. We need prayer.
Now may our Lord Jesus Christ himself and God our Father, who loved us and through grace gave us eternal comfort and good hope, comfort our hearts and strengthen them in every good work and work. Amen.
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 Thank you. Bye, Michelle. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye. Oh.
Bye, Jackie.
All right. Night, night.
Bye, Byron.
Michelle,
Good
call me,
night.
please.
This
You
was
hear,
great.
Thank you.
you hear Michelle?
Yes, I heard.
Good night, Michelle.
You're not
Good night.
acknowledging that I said that, though.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Lexi. She has something coming up in a couple of days as well. Give her a chance to talk about that. Thank you, Dennis Smith. Thank you, Jennifer Angaru. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Is that Cecilia Ogliff? I think her name is Cecilia. Why did I think that's her name? I don't know who ZTE is. Z2.
Well, you are so much welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, guys. Good night. Don't forget to register to vote by Saturday. Thank you.